All right. Hi, everyone. We're going to discuss now the zero exponents and the negative indices. So in here, as we see, in this particular part of the discussion, all we need to understand is that anything that has an exponent of zero will automatically give us a value of one. So let's say, for example, if we have this a raised to zero, then automatically the answer that we are going to acquire is equivalent to one. So no matter how big or small the number is, this will give us a value of one. So just like the same to what we guys have here, if you are going to answer this one, there's no need for you to calculate anything, and you're just going to have this particular value one. Now, in this particular, in this question, you will see that the whole term has an exponent of one. So again, has an exponent of zero. So again, the answer will automatically be equal to one. So the same thing to what you guys are going to apply with this particular answer, it's going to be one. Now, for this question, what you're going to notice is that these two, the only one that has an exponent of zero is the p. So we are going to think that these two here automatically has an exponent of one. So this calculation will give us two. 2 raised to 1 is 2. And then p raised to 0 is 1, which finally will give you an answer of 2. So the same thing to what you're going to apply on this side. So if we have 7 times k raised to 0, which is equivalent to 1, so this is going to give us an answer of 7. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the negative indices. So in the negative indices, what you need to understand is that if a base has a negative indices, all you need to do is to write it down as the denominator of that particular value or fraction. So let's try. So from here, if you are going to express 4 raised to negative 3, this will automatically tell us that you are going to write that particular base with an exponent of positive as a denominator. Okay. So if we are going to simplify this, this is going to give us 1 raised to 64. All right. Now, if we are going to solve for this one, so again, this is going to give us 1 over negative 7. So bracket 1, positive 1 for the denominator exponent. And then from here, we can simplify this as negative 1 over 7. Okay. Now let's move on to the last one. So in this problem, you will see that the terms that are being applied are in fraction form. So yeah, just the same thing. We are going to write them as a denominator, but then, okay, you will see that it is being squared. So we can simplify this as 1 over 9 over 25. Okay, so you might be thinking, how are we going to calculate this? So for this part, we are now going to represent this division symbol, this fractional bar as a division process. So you will have this calculation 1 over 9 over 25. So 9 over 25 is going to give us 1 times 25 over 9. So from here, your answer now will be equivalent to 2 raised to 7 over 9. Okay, so now for this part, what I want you to do is to try to solve these particular values and see if you will arrive with the answers. Okay, all you need to do is to pause this video. So now what you're going to see here is that the answers have been laid here. So all you need to do if you want you guys is to just stop the video and see the calculation that I have done. All right. Now let's move on to the next part wherein you are going to apply the rules of the laws of indices, wherein the problems will have zero exponents and negative exponents. All right. So in this particular question, you will see that this is going to give us, oops. Okay, let me just highlight it. Okay, we will be having a raised to negative 7 times a raised to 4 and a raised to negative 3. So if we are going to calculate this, this is going to give us a calculation of a raised to negative 7. And as you can see, the times there will automatically tell us that we have to add 4 to that exponent. And then the minus, the division tells us that we have to subtract this negative 3. So if we calculate this, this is now going to give you negative 7 plus 4 will be a raised to 3. A raised to 3, raised to negative 3. And then we are going to have additional 3, which will eventually give us a raised to 0. And as we know, anything that has a 0 index will automatically give us a value of 1. All right. Now let's move on to question number 2. So in question number 2, we see that the denominator needs to be cubed for each of the terms in there. So in this calculation, what you need to do is to just copy whatever you see in the numerator and solve it to whatever answers you're going to get for the denominator. So we know that this is 2 cubed, which will eventually give you 8. This is going to be b, 3 times 3, which is 9. And then the c will automatically be equal to 3. So from here now, you will now notice that these 8 will automatically be canceled by division. And you will have this calculation of b, negative 4 minus 9, and then c, 3 minus 3. Okay, so if we recalculate this, this is going to give us an answer of b raised to negative 13. And then afterwards, this is going to give us c raised to 0. Okay, so now in this situation, what you're going to get this time is to have the answer 1 over b raised to 13. Okay, I hope you guys fully understand that. Okay, so now this time we're going to go to this particular question. So in here, we can see that this is 2d raised to 0. So if you guys want to calculate this value right away, so you will understand that this will give us an answer of 1, and it's going to be divided by the next given that we have. So this is going to be d raised to 2 times negative 1, which gives you d raised to negative 2. And then e will now become positive 4. Okay, so since we know that this is going to be a division process, so if you are going to analyze this, this d and e will automatically become a denominator. So this is going to be 1 over d raised to negative 2 and e raised to 4. Okay, now as soon as you get this one, you will now understand that the d has to go up, which is eventually will give you d raised to 2 over e raised to 4. Okay. This one, we now have this calculation. And what we need to do is to group them in such a way that, oops, we can calculate these processes that we have. So before we add and subtract, what we need to do is to divide and multiply first. Okay, so the first term is going to give us a calculation of 3a minus negative 2. Okay, and then plus a raised to 3. So 2 plus 1 is a raised to 3. And then the next one is going to be a cancellation of 2 and 6 here, which gives you 3. And then the calculation at the exponent will be a raised to negative 1 plus 4. So if I simplify this particular values, this is going to give us 3a. Sorry, this should be a. Okay, raised to the third power plus a raised to the third power minus 3a raised to the third power. So if you are going to add and subtract them, since all of them are in a cube, then the final answer that we are going to get here will now become a cube. All right. So again, I will show you all the calculations and try to review them and pause this video to find out how to answer this particular question. Okay, you may start pausing it. So now here you're going to see the calculations on how I solve these problems. And for you to be able to check whether your answers are correct, all you need to do is to look at the last portions of the calculation. So now what I want you to do is to see whether you get it right or wrong. If not, if you don't get it right, just to make sure to please pay attention to what you guys on the portion that made it wrong. Okay. So these are the things that we are going to discuss now. By the next video, we are going to discuss all about rational indices. Okay. That's it, and have a nice day.